Okay, good evening, children. Today we are going to discuss about why we need data representation, basically. So under that topic, basically, we have discussed previous day about the integer representation as well as the floating point representation. And today, so what we are trying to do is we are going to represent characters. So before we begin, let me just introduce what is representation. Actually, representation means you use something to present some other thing. For an example, signal can be represented using maybe a presence of signal can be represented using one. Absence of a signal can be presented using zero. Present of signal one, absence zero. That is called representation. Presence of voltage one, absence of voltage zero. Maybe high voltage 1, low voltage 0. So we represent like that. That is called binary number system. And so basically machine language is created using this representation system. But machine language is not just simple. So because so everything need to be represented using ones and zeros. You can simply represent absence and presence using ones and zeros. That I agree. I think you can also agree with that since it's simple. Representing absence using 0 and representing presence using 0, presence using 1, or representing high voltage using 1 and low voltage using 0. It's simple mechanism. But in machines, basically, we have to represent everything in ones and zeros. That means either you get, let's say you get a number, integer number. You have to represent that using ones and zeros. You get negative integer. You have to represent using ones and zeros. You get positive integer, again ones and zeros. The positive signs using ones and zero. Negative sign using one and zero. And if you get a floating point number, again the decimal point you have to represent using uh, ones and zeros. And if it is exponent, if it is like 10 to the power o some number 2.3 into 10 to the power 5, so that 10 to the power, that power you have to represent using that using ones and zeros. So machine language is not easy. We have to find mechanism to represent all these things. So that is why we discuss two's complement in integer representation and floating point representation. Actually, we have discussed about IEEE 754 floating point representation. But that part is currently removed from your syllabus since it was in the old syllabus, how you represent floating point numbers. But integer representation is there. So you have sign and magnitude, ones complement and two's complement. Out of those sign and magnitude, ones complement and two's complement, currently we are using two's complement number system. So, but when it comes to some advanced things like character representation, letters, you have to find out a way to represent letters using ones and zeros. But should be easy conversion. So even you see two's complement conversion is a bit harder because you have to find the number. If number is positive, you can represent that using positive sign 0 and then the value in binary. But if number is negative, you have to represent negative sign 1 and then you have to use the complement or the inverse of the positive number and add 1 to that. So for an example, positive 10 you represented using 0. Let's use 8 bits. 0, then 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0 is the positive 0. Negative 0, you can represent using 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1 plus 1. So means this is 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. So that is how you have done the two's complement representation of negative 10. Right? So, and floating point representation also, it involves some calculations, some more calculations. So basically, when it comes to this integer representation and floating point representation, there are some arithmetic operations. We have to do some calculations, but it's not easy to do calculation always. It's not possible to do calculation always. So we have to find out easy mechanism to represent letters, characters. So initially what was suggested, this is actually used by International Business Machines, IBM, International Business Machines. They suggested a method called binary coded decimal to represent these numbers. Binary coded decimal, BCD, right? The method, the particular method, so which the binary BCD method suggested to represent numbers from 0 to 9 using the relevant binary code of 4-bit register or 4-bit binary code. 0 is represented using 0. This is actually the binary value, but leading 3 zeros are added to make this 4-bit number. Then leading 3 zeros 1 is 1, 0010, 11, 100, 101. Likewise, the particular binary value is taken, and then so to fill the gap, 0 is added to the beginning. But for 8 and 9, you don't need, because so 8 and 9 is already in 8-bit. Therefore, so this 4-bit combination was initially used to represent the numbers, the positives and negatives, whatever. So see the advantage. So if you have a number like this, 98, simply you can represent 9 means 1001 and 8 means 1000. That was the mechanism used by this number system. If you have a number like, let's say if you have a number like 23, 2 is represented using 0010 and 3 is represented using 0011, and this is 23. So simple. So I think you learned this method in hexadecimal representation also. So this is how the representation was done. So this is like a table. When you get a digit, referring to this table, you will convert that to a particular binary sequence. And anyway, so my next question is how many combinations you can generate by using 4 bits. If you use 1 bit, there are 2 combinations, 0 and 1. If you use 2 bits, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. These are the possible combinations. 4 combinations. If it is 3 bit, 8 combinations. For an example, if it is 4 bits, then 2 to the power 4 combinations or 16 combinations. The maximum possible is 16 combinations. So what is the disadvantage? You can represent numbers as characters. Unfortunately, it's not enough to represent alphabetical letters. You can represent numbers as characters, but it is quite difficult. So because there are no way, because you have only 4 bits. So then maximum you can go for 16 combinations. You have plus, minus, other symbols also. So this method was not really good. So we can remember this point. BCD represented 16 unique symbols. The maximum it can go for 16 unique symbols. So it is best for numbers, but not for the letters. But then they have enhanced that. Right? Then they have enhanced that by using something called EBCDIC. Right. Actually, so this representation thing, let me give some more examples of representation. So this is like 783 in 7 means you can say 7 means 0111 and 8 means 1000, and this is how 783 is represented using. And so basically this representation is then transferred to the signal format or storage format. So for an example, if you want to store this 783, this is the raw thing, right? So this is not actual picture, this is just raw thing. If let's assume if you want to represent this number 783 in the hard disk, you have to save this. Then the hard disk magnetization, so different magnetic particles. 0 can be represented using north and south, and then 1 is the other way, south and north, south and north. Then north, south, south, north, south, north, south, north, south, north, and north, south, north, south, north, south. Then north, south, and south, north, south. Likewise, it is then transferred to the hard disk. So that's why this representation is very, very useful. The binary representation is useful because it can be easily transferred to the magnetic disks and to optical disks. So I think something called burning CDs. So let me quickly show this. Let me go to Google. And basically, if it is a magnetism, how data represented in hard disk, you can search like this, and then you can see the south, north, south, the magnetism, so base representation. So this is basically done by the head by magnetizing the class sectors, magnetizing the sectors in the hard disk. So by this head is magnetizing sectors, and then that is the mechanism used by the magnetic disks to store something inside them. Then optical disks, they use pit and land mechanism. Pit and land in CD. So basically so the burn point and unburned point. So this is like, this is how it is look like when it's zoomed. When you zoom this using a microscope, this is how it looks like. So you can see here. So this is how it looks like. But when you burn, what will happen? When you burn, so it will be created. This will be melted and going. So it's like aluminum layer in the middle, a metal layer in the middle. When you burn it, it will be melted and it will go down. But when you read in, so you can see the different reflection for pit and different reflection for land. This reflection difference is used to read it. When reading, you are using less powerful bulb. When reading a CD, you are using less powerful laser bulb, and it uses reflection. So if it is reflected from a land area, CDAK, then you have this aluminum layer. Sometimes CDs might have the platinum or gold layer, gold plated or platinum plated, but these are rare. Earlier days, we used to have these gold plated CDs, the original CDs, which the Windows and some software came through that, those CDs or platinum CDs, but those are really, really durable. We could use that for years. But these aluminium kind of things are not really durable, but still it can be melted and store some data. The melting is done by laser head. So basically here laser head, when you turn on a laser bulb will turn on and it will touch this layer and it will be melted. That is called CD burning. Right, this is the reading mechanism and burning mechanism. So let's see burning mechanism. You can just Google the burning mechanism and then you can see how this is melted, and you can just read out, right, how this is melted using the laser bulb. So this is what happening. This is what happening when you burn a CD or DVD, optical discs. Right, now you know, so when you have binaries, it's very easy to transfer that status to hard disk. It's very easy to transfer that status to optical disk or magnetic disk. So that is why we are representing data in binary. Okay, let's go back to our node. So in wires, how to send these binary signals? So basically it uses voltages, low voltage, then high voltage, high voltage, high voltage, high voltage, then 5 low voltages, and then two high voltages. And that's how you send it using wires. Even the decimal point you can represent it, but the thing is, unfortunately, you have to use this dot, no mechanism to send dots in wires. So you have to again revert back to this floating point representation mechanism. But it is quite hard because you have to do calculations. So we are using some other ways of converting numbers due to that, but these calculations are also important because numbers are basically used for calculations. No? So it is better to keep calculated values, then you can arithmetically process that. Otherwise, if it is just binary value, it's difficult to process arithmetically. It is difficult to add, difficult to multiply, difficult to subtract, difficult to divide. But when you have the arithmetic format, that means 2's complement number or floating point number, it is easy to do the arithmetic. That's why for mathematics, anyway, for numbers, we need that hard method of representing the numbers in arithmetic format using floating point, and the other way using two's complement for integers, floating point for decimal numbers. Right, now I think you have a clear idea why we need data representation, as well as I think now you have a clear idea why we need two's complement, why we need floating point, and in addition to that, why we need character representation. Characters are not taken for calculations. So calculation වලට ගන්නේ නැති හින්දා characters සාමාන්‍ය විදිහට මේ දැන් මට කියන්න පුළුවන් මේක north south මේක south north එහෙම represent කරාට කමන්නේ නැහැ because it's not taken for the calculations. එහෙම නැත්නම් මම කියනවා එක කියන්නේ cos ගෙඩියක් දෙක කියන්නේ del ගෙඩියක් නැත්නම් බිඳුව කියන්නේ del ගෙඩියක් එක කියන්නේ cos ගෙඩියක් එහෙම represent කරාට කමන්නේ නැහැ because it's not taken for the calculations, right? But numbers not like that. Numbers are taken for the calculation, therefore you need better representation mechanism. Okay, now you have clear idea about what's going on inside the computer. Now let's move to the second number system, the next number system, or the second, that is EBCDIC. Extended Binary Coded Decimal Interchange Code, which has 8 bits, which suggests 256 unique symbols. Wow, so now we have the characters. So earlier days, the BCD, the primitive BCD support only 4 bits, having 16 unique symbols. But here you have 8 bits, 2 to the power 8 means 256 symbols. So it was enough to represent numbers, letters, and symbols. Therefore, EBCDIC was popular. At the same time, there was some other standard which was very, very popular than EBCDIC, that is ASCII. Right? So that is ASCII, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Right here, so I think you can remember how to convert hexa to bin and octal to bin. This is some additional thing I just wanted to remember. Similar to that, you use this 4-bit number system to represent BCD and 8-bit number code to represent EBCDIC. Let me show these EBCDIC codes. You can just search EBCDIC, but no need to remember, right? EBC EBCDIC chart. There's something called EBCDIC chart, and this is the EBCDIC chart. You can see how it is created, right? How ASCII, everything is there. How ASCII, ISO, Unicode. So all these characters are there anyway. So let me show the EBCDIC values. Here you can see the code sign. So one side you have 4 bits. This is like hexadecimal numbers. I think you can remember the pattern 0, 1, 0, 1 up to 16 times. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 16 times. Then 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 16 times. Then 4, 0, 4, 1, 4, 0, 4, 1, 16 times. See that all lessons are related, right? Without binary, you will not be able, without binary and initial binary conversion, hexadecimal, octal number system, you won't be able to understand this. So if you directly came here to understand EBCDIC, please watch my video on binary number conversion and hexadecimal, octal character representation. Then come to this one. Because directly you will not be able to understand this, because this part we have done in the number representation, basically hexadecimal. So you can see the hexadigit here. So similar to that, here also in the table you have 16 digits. So how symbol is taken here? Letter A. Letter A is taken by, right? Letter A is taken by the binary signal for letter A is 1100 here, from this 1100, and from this it is 0001. That is EBCDIC letter A. So let me use the calculator to calculate that quickly. Or you can manually calculate, but in your level you should be able to calculate manually. But for the explanation purpose, let me do this quickly. It is going to view the programmer mode of calculator, and I'm going to use binary. And let me write the binary one. This is octal-hex. Okay, let me write the hexa one, then the binary code will be shown here. No? Hexa one will be here. From this one I have C. From this side I have 1. It is C1. In binary you can see 11000001 here. 11000001 00001. 1100 00001. And let's see what is the value in decimal. Decimal, it is 193. So this is how the representation is done. Right, basically it takes the similar to that Excel column letter row number, it takes this side and this side. So is it correct? 1100 00001. Yeah. So this is how you represent this. And the simple A is 10000001. So simple A is 10000001. 1000 means 8, and here it's 1. So in hexadecimal it is 81. In binary this one 10000001, and decimal it's 129. This is how character values are taken for EBCDIC. But EBCDIC we are not using that much, but ASCII we are using. So EBCDIC uses 256 characters, 256 character code. So that is EBCDIC, right? But when it comes to ASCII, it uses only 7 bits. 7-bit means 128 characters. But there's another version of ASCII called extended ASCII. It uses 256 symbols, which is 2 to the power 8. 8-bit, 2 to the power 8 means 256 symbol. Extended ASCII. But general ASCII, General American Standard Code for Information Interchange, general one use 7 bits, 2 to the power 7. ASCII chart is quite similar to this. Let me search ASCII chart. That is quite similar to this. Yes, you can see the ASCII table. Okay, ASCII conversion chart. Let's use this one. So similar to that, but one side octal, the other side hexadecimal. දැන් අර කේ දෙපැත්තෙම හෙක්සානේ තිබ්බේ. ASCII එකේදී එක පැත්තක 8යි අනිත් පැත්තේ 16යි. sorry, එක පැත්තක octal, ඒ කියන්නේ 3 bit, අනිත් පැත්තේ 4 bit. 3 plus 4 8 7 bits. එක පැත්තක 3 bit, අනිත් පැත්තේ 4 bit. එතකොට 3යි 4යි 7ක් යන විදිහට තමයි ASCII හැදුනේ. Okay, now you can see the image. Let me show this. It's asking GIF one. Okay, let me save and open. That's also okay. And let me open that. It's opened. Now let me zoom this, and oh, it's not clear. But anyway, can you see the letter A? Letter A is here. So letter A is here. It is hexadecimal 41, or it is 0100 So it is hexadecimal 41. ASCII letter A is hexadecimal 41. ASCII capital letter A, hexa 41 means here 0100 7 characters. 1, 2, 3. First, forget this 0 in the initial stage. Forget this 0, right? This is actually extended ASCII because that's why it's given in 8 characters. So anyway, general ASCII it's 1000001. In extended ASCII it's 8 characters. Anyway, both are given same codes, but eASCII has many codes. Right, 41 means 000, this one, and decimal value for that is 65. You can try this. You can try this if you're having a keyboard like this. Let me show. Okay, keyboard like this. You have number pad. So you can press. Sorry, you can press ALT key plus number pad numbers. You can say press Alt key plus number pad numbers like this. Then maybe Alt 65. Not maybe, actually. Alt and 65 will give letter A. Try this. Press Alt key and then 65. It will give letter A. Or press Alt key but use numpad, right? Remember to use numpad, otherwise it won't work. If you don't have numpad in your laptop, so you have to use a separate one, or you have to, so there's a virtual numpad. You can just download virtual keyboard with the numpad, or you can use Windows virtual keyboard. So that is there also you can enable the numpad. From that you can press Alt plus 65, which is equivalent to 41 in hexa. That is letter A. So here this one, it is, you can see a simple A is 61 in hexa. 61 in hexa means here you can see 1100 1140 is 1. It's 61. So let's calculate that too. Let's go to our calculator. This is calculator. So in that 61 is hexadecimal 61 means you can see the binary 110, sorry 110 is 0001. It's in decimal, it's 97. All the plus 97 will give you simple letter A. That is ASCII. You might wonder, so why still ASCII is there? Because it's only 7 characters, but still there. So that is not because of ASCII, because as courtesy or anyway for ease of use. So still, so nowadays we need more characters because we need our keyboard to support Hindi, English, Tamil, Sinhala, Chinese or Mandarin. We have lot of languages. We need single keyboard to support all the languages. Otherwise, what will happen? Simply what will happen, so here let's say you want to type Sinhala, so you have to put a Sinhala font from here. So let's put a Sinhala font. Then using the Vijayasekara keyboard, you have to remember the Vijayasekara keyboard. Then you have to type this like this. So then at the same time, if you want to type English letter, you have to again change the font, and then you can type A, B, C. So simply you can type both, but you have to change the you have to change the you have to change this oh anyway you have to change this font. But if you select together, so you can't see in a single font because you have two fonts. Font වර්ග දෙකක් තියෙනවා. හින්දා ඔයාට තනි font එකෙන් බලා ගන්න බෑ. It's not unique because it has a different font for Sinhala, different for English, different character set for Sinhala, different for English. So it's harder to look. But when you use a character, unique code, the idea of Unicode is a unique code. So when you use unique code or Unicode, you can type everything in single font. For an example, if you use Iskolapotha, which is a single Unicode font for Sinhala and English, and even for other languages you can keep, but for basically it supports Sinhala too. So that's why I'm using Skolapotha here. So you can write, let's say, hello, maybe press. Let's say hello, I'm using phonetic one, and mama, then English one in here. Next I want to write English. I'm not going to change the font. I'm just change the this one, English, or enter, press. Again I need the change, so I can use the shortcut, it's Alt Shift, but in Mac shortcut is not working in Mac, it seems. Control Shift no, Alt Shift no. In Windows, Alt Shift to change between the font, otherwise I have to go and select that. Okay, anyway, like you can type both fonts, but you can see when you select that everything is in Skolapotha now. So if you want to format this, no need to change. Otherwise, if you send this letter after typing, if you send this letter to someone, if you send this letter to someone, they have to, if they don't have the font, you have to send the font as well. Then what will happen in the other end? You have to select one part, change the font. Select the middle part, change the font to some other. Select the another part, change the font to some other. That is harder. But you have an easy way to send that using a PDF. You can use a portable document format to send that. Other than if you're using PDF, you have to change the font. But Unicode means you have to use a single font to everything. Here you have two versions of Unicode, 16-bit Unicode which support 65,536 characters together. So it's a very large amount, and 32-bit Unicode. So it supports to the power 32 closer to 4 billion characters. So that is more than enough to write all the languages in the universe, I think. Okay, anyway. So now, so why still I didn't answer the question, initial question that I raised. So why still ASCII? Unicode has preserved, or Unicode has reserved first characters to be in the ASCII number. That means Alt 65 in Unicode is still capital letter A. Alt 97 in Unicode is still simple letter A. So it has kept the numbers, or it has preserved the numbers or reserved the numbers which is used by the ASCII, because ASCII was really popular. That's why still in Unicode you can see ASCII inside that. Right, so I think now you have clear idea why we need character representation. Similar to that, image has image representation. Similar to that, audio has audio representation. Video has video representation. Other binary document has, those are having different representations related to the particular binary codes. But in A levels, you will be learning only up to this point. But if you really want to explore, you can learn a lot about image manipulation, image representation using binaries, right? You can just search image representation using binaries. Oh, in my singular font. Oh, sorry, I didn't look at that. So let me change that. So where's my, oh, is it missing? Did I close this? So go to this and here it's there. So let me change it to, right, representation of images in binary. It's very important. These are called bitmap images. You can see how it is represented. So this is using a matrix. So if you know mathematics, matrices, it uses a 2D matrix to represent binary image using black and white colors. And this is letter A. So you can take the inverse of this matrix or the transpose matrix to rotate this. You can use recursive Dublin-like techniques to zoom the matrix. Or you can multiply this by a constant to change the color and change the matrix to 3D matrix and change the color. So you won't understand what I'm telling. Don't worry, right? Because I just said what can be done in future in image representation. You can learn these image manipulation techniques like changing color of the image, how it happened. All these things are mathematics, because in computer, nothing is there other than mathematics, right? All are binary mathematics. So using this binary matrix, let's assume you multiply this matrix by 2. All ones will become 2. Keep in all zeros 0. All ones will become 2. 2 is another color, but 2 you can't represent using 1. Oh, so you can't represent 2 because no mechanism to represent 2. We learned in magnetic disk you have north south and south north, only 2 symbols. In optical you have 2 binaries. So similar to pith and land. So in optical pith and land, in magnetic north south. So we don't have a mechanism to represent 2. Therefore 2 is converted to binary. 2 is 1 0. So in this single cell now, instead of 2 you will have 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 means this will come out. This will become 3D matrix. Now second dimension will be converted to third dimension to give a color. To give the transparency, another dimension will be added. Likewise, this can be further learned. I invite you to study, self-study, learn this further. How to represent numbers and how to represent letters, now you know that. How to represent images, audios, please go through that and learn. That's really essential skill for you in your future, not for your A-levels. Learn ICT. I always say, learn ICT for your life. Don't learn ICT for exams. Because ICT is one of the leading skills. If you're having ICT skills, it is one of the leading skills in this decade. And especially if you have coding skills, it is a plus point. So that is additional thing to you. Okay, then let's meet on next day. We'll discuss more about these. So I think this lesson, the remaining part is over with this. We can move to the new lesson in next day. So let's meet on next day. Goodbye.